The following program is being brought to you on the Seventh Wave Network. For more information about our network and to check our additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit seventhwavenetwork.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the following program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.
Welcome. It's time for expansion. It's time for vibrational attunement and channeled messages with the mothers. This is Conscious Conversations with Angela Blaha. In our program today, you will learn about new states of consciousness and seek unity within yourself. Now, here is your host, Angela Blaha.
Welcome, everyone, to Conscious Conversations. I'm Angela Blaha, and today I have the awesome Dr. Sharon Ufberg. Welcome to the show, Dr. Ufberg.
Thank you so much for having me today, Angela. I'm looking forward to our conversation together.
Great. Today we are consciously talking about awakening to your awesomeness, something that we all want, need, and desire, right? So, Dr. Ufberg, How can we awaken to awesomeness?
Well, I think, Angela, thanks. I think so often people are looking at how to figure out what they want, how to create a clear vision for their life's journey, how to begin to figure out what they would love their life to look like. And so, so often people focus on what they're longing for or their discontent. And I think, it's really important for people to look and see, what direction do they want their life to go? How do they begin really loving the life they have and really putting themselves in the best position to create an upward spiral or growth path? It's okay to be grateful for what you already have and still seek a greater, fuller representation of your life. And so, there's lots of ways in which people can begin to do that.
Right. You mentioned a good point. Like, we try to figure it out, right? Like, we get stuck in our mental mind. How can we, or do you have techniques that we can use to totally take us out of that perspective? Because generally, that's not how we manifest, right? That's not how we move into our awesomeness, our awakening, our ability to be who we came here to be.
Yeah, it's so important, I think, that people begin to give themselves a real chance to upgrade their life story and to open up to what their journey may be. So often people don't know how to leverage whatever progress they could make or how to expand on the life that they're currently living. And so part of it is really investing in yourself, learning how to really open up a channel between your heart and your mind, really learning ways to unlock some of your own inner knowing. I always say that your inner voice knows better than any financial advisor, than any best friend's advice, than what your mom thinks is the right thing for you to be doing. That you really need to tap into your own inner wisdom instead of looking outside yourself for the answers. And there are specific ways and techniques to do that. I've spent a lot of time and a lot of trial and error and hard work coming up with a step-by-step approach to begin to really know how to unlock some of those hidden gems that we have inside ourselves. I'd love to share my story about kind of how I ended up in this whole manifestation world if you think your listeners would like to hear that, Angela.
Perfect. Yes, I'm sure they would. Go ahead.
So, I had what appeared on the outside to be quite a joyous life. I had been a chiropractor and integrative practitioner for almost 20 years. This was about 12 years ago. I'd raised 3 children. I was in a long marriage. I was living in Northern California, quite a lovely area. And from the outside, my life looked pretty darn rosy. But on the inside, I was having a lot of deep yearning. And like Mary Morrissey says, I was looking to live a life by design and not by default. And I was starting to feel like I was just going through the motions. And I think so often people begin to feel that way. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing, or they're doing what they think they already are good at. And they're listening to a lot of external voices saying, well, this is it. This is what you need to settle for. This is good. You should be grateful. But I wasn't able to really tamp down this inner voice inside of me that was saying, there's a bigger purpose out there for you. There's a bigger journey. There's something waiting for you right outside your reach. Unfortunately, at that time, I didn't have anyone like myself who would come alongside me and hold my hand and walk me through a very clear, structured process. But what I did have was a huge commitment to try discovering that. And so I did spend a lot of time looking for mentors and reading and researching about things like the laws of abundance, about how to clear and release whatever limiting beliefs we have, and what I had about defining my own potential and what was possible for me and what I deserved, and dispelling whatever fears and self-doubts that we all have, or the stories we tell ourselves. At that time, I was in my mid-40s. By the time you get to your 40s, you have a lot of, things to unpackage and unwrap that are either in your conscious or subconscious mind about what you believe in and the story you're telling. So I did a lot of work going through learning how to set the correct intention, learning how to express what I wanted and hoped and dreamed for, really studying with the early neuroscientists around brain retraining. There's nothing woo-woo about retraining and rewiring your brain, Angela. It's right. Just neurotransmitters. It's science. And it's right. So interesting to me, coming from a science background, it was very interesting to me how this early notion back then, now it's very common. You could find 100 different people to teach you how to retrain and rewire your brain today. But back 12 years ago, there was very little out there around this process. And I did study with some of the early people that were looking at that, that our words and our thoughts become things, and that becomes our reality. And I did a lot of that work. And then I set about an action plan. And I picked myself up at the real horror of many around me and moved to New York City by myself, without any financial security, without a long-term, my partner, my husband of all those years, without a best friend, but with this really incredible commitment to what was next and to discovering my true calling and my potential. And it was courageous, I have to say, but it also was driven by and inspired by a real belief in myself. And I slept on a friend's couch, and I saved my quarters for coffee in the morning, and I pounded the pavement. And I'm happy to report I did find an incredible position at a very prestigious integrative wellness center on Fifth Avenue in New York City. And I thought, wow, I did this. I wasn't from New York. It wasn't like that was something I had a lot of connections to. Yet I felt so incredibly empowered by having gone through this process of really manifesting something that was so much more aligned to where I felt my true purpose lied. But you know what, Angela? I was a romantic. I wanted love and romance, and I felt that, yes, now I had this part of my life, this, essential key area of my vocation in place, but I wanted to travel again. I wanted to have a partner that felt like the right man for me at that time. And so I went back and used the same approach again, clearing and releasing whatever limiting beliefs I had about love and commitment and trust and the right kind of person that was available to me and that I deserved. And going through setting the intention and expressing to the universe this kind of relationship that I could see myself in, and doing the brain retraining about the story I was telling about what that relationship would look like. And I did meet and was introduced to a wonderful New Yorker. We started traveling together. The happy ending is we fell in love. We got married. We've been married for 10 years, and I brought my New York City husband back to Northern California, where we now live in the beautiful wine country. And I once again went back to the same approach to create a whole new, reimagine a whole new career for myself, working with my daughter, who's a lawyer who doesn't practice law, and I'm a healthcare practitioner. I don't see patients, but together we really do this inspired work to help people also commit to what they want and to believe in themselves and to really discover their own potential. So, this work is something that I come to with great authenticity and joy because I use it over and over again in my own life story. And no one could have told me 10 years ago this is where I would have ended up. Right.
You brought up a really good point, and that yearning that you felt. I feel like, I've had that yearning as well, and it starts young, right? It starts in us really young, and after a while, there's no denying that yearning that we have, but yet society, or the society that within which we live, or maybe it's just our limiting beliefs, that we can't do it, or that we're not worthy of doing it, or, is that part of that manifesting, the initial manifesting stages?
I mean, I think that's very important that when people get in touch with their dream, and which I think somehow comes out as a yearning if they're not actually moving closer toward it or feeling like they're aligned, they're working towards something that they feel so clear is a yes for them. I think part of what people often don't do is they don't create this clear vision for what it is they would love and see themselves inside of that. So not that it's this dream that's somehow very far away, but that they begin to actually align their future from within, where they actually begin to see themselves. And when you begin to see yourself inside of this vision, then it becomes really much more easy to make the transition, to make the changes that you need to make to actually not feel the yearning, but feel the excitement of moving closer to it. I mean, I think another thing that sometimes is a pitfall is that people don't look for a mentor in their lives or someone with a proven track record to help them move through and get closer and get clear, and also to create some kind of strong support structure so that they do gather people around them that not just want to protect them, but actually want to support them on their journey. So often we hear so much from the external world that is about, limitations, about doing what's the right thing to do, keeping within some society's image of what is the way, to go about making a big change. And often when you get a real clarity about what you believe in and what's a yes for you, then you can let go of a lot of what other people think and really listen to yourself.
Yeah, that would be true. I find it interesting about, creating that clear vision. Like so many of us, and my clients, I'm sure, as well as your clients, like we just can't seem to grasp that clear vision. And the other part of that is, as a creative being, like I am constantly changing my vision, or I'm bringing in things to add to the vision, not necessarily changing the whole vision, but bringing in, aspects of it that change like the dynamics of the vision. And so, having a mentor to really get clear, I find is extremely important. Do you find that as well?
Yes. I mean, I do think that one of the really strong places in terms of indicators for success is when people do create some proximity to a mentor or a support structure that helps them move along. Because any trajectory in life is not a straight line up. We all have our ups and downs. We have moments where we feel stuck or blocked. We have times when we feel static. And learning to be able to take that pause in the trajectory to say, oh, this is a time I can regroup. This is a time I can rethink. Maybe I can be flexible and adjust, perhaps move a little to the right or a little to the left, or open this door that I thought was not an option for me. And so, when you have people that support your vision and also recognize that there are ups and downs and that those are times where we get to really relax and give ourselves permission to relax along the way, it really does help make it possible. I mean, I found that there's some key indicators that we always have to keep looking for, and that is really looking at our health, our relationships, the work we do, what our time and money, what we think about that and how we feel about that and our freedom around time and money. And if you keep reassessing those 4 key areas in your own life's journey, it does help you see where you need to pay more attention and what you're perhaps falling into some pitfalls around, whatever your own disempowering beliefs around that, or letting whatever particular momentary current circumstances somehow subject you to, and also just really spending too much time listening to naysayers or other people that don't really see your progress, or you're not seeing your progress soon enough to feel like somehow you're not being successful. Sometimes a pause and being able to say, just like you said, geez, I need to readjust what my dream looks like. And maybe now I'm not going to be, now I'm not going to feel like the only success I'm going to have is if I'm on this boat in Tahiti. Maybe if I'm just, I'm in an island closer to home where I can just spend more time at the beach. Maybe it's just taking a long vacation every year. Whatever it is, you're just shifting your idea of what is your dream, what makes you feel aligned, and that not allowing whatever limitations that we so easily can fall into, kind of be a stumbling block for us.
Right. And those, limitations can sometimes put us into sheer panic, and we don't ever move in any direction, up, down, or anything.
Yeah, I think there is a certain paralysis. I mean, I think what happens, and I see that with so many people, and I'm sure you do too, is that people feel that they don't have the permission to invest some time in figuring out their best next move. They feel they have to be on some very clear step-by-step plan that they just can't possibly take a sidestep to, or else somehow that it deems them unsuccessful or unworthy or procrastinating, and that we really do have to believe that our journey is our own, and the timing of it comes when the timing is right, and that things that shift and change and move is not necessarily a negative, but could be the greatest opportunity that's waiting for us if we just trust in a process.
Right. And sometimes, just having the courage to say yes to everything, like moving, to New York, that's courage. That's true courage. And you said yes. Right? So that you didn't really necessarily...
Yeah, it's interesting. It didn't feel like it was courage at the time. It felt like it was the only choice. It felt like I had to do it. And I think when we get very passionate and clear, it doesn't feel like you're weighing, should I, shouldn't I? It's like, I must do this. This is my time. My time is now. And I don't think everybody has the same level of, risk aversion, or, some people feel very comfortable taking big risks and some people take smaller. And it's not necessarily that it has to be something as dramatic as that, but just to take inspired action in whatever way that works for you. That's my true story. I did move 3,000 miles, but you don't have to move 3,000 miles to make huge shifts in your life story.
That's true. Yeah, we can just go for a walk sometimes. Sometimes the simplest things.
I think that it really starts with that belief in yourself that you do have the capacity to create an upward spiral effect, that you have something very unique to offer the world, and that you can claim that, and that you can begin to get started. I mean, I found that there's really 3 reasons why people end up not manifesting. And the first one is that they just never get started. They never truly take whatever the necessarily strategic training or steps to just get started. And I find that's the saddest of all, because that's the person who just is filled with so much fear and anxiety or worry that they don't even trust themselves enough to just take the first steps.
Right.
The second is that people start, but they just don't keep going. For whatever reason, they make some attempt to start, and then all of their old stories start building up, all the self-doubt, all the self-criticism, all of the things that have held them back in the past starts creeping in. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve this. I never will have enough money to do this. I'll never have enough time to make this work. And so they just don't keep going the minute they hit a little bit of a bump in the road. And then the third one is something you and I have already touched on, which is really just this idea that people don't arrange close enough proximity to a trusted mentor or a community that really supports their dream. And so that's a very, very, whether it's a virtual community online, whether it's people in their own community, whether it's a mastermind group or whether it's a personal mentor, this is a very key element for people to get unstuck from when they're in motion, but also to be able to have the resilience to keep going.
Right. Very good topic. We're going to take a little bit of a break, and we'll be right back with Dr. Ufberg.
The Voice America 7th Wave Channel. Be extraordinary. Be the change.
In Angela's book, Show Me How to Remember Your Power Through Self-Love and Forgiveness, you'll find an empowering book filled with messages of love and forgiveness. She gives powerful ways to use your own courage, strength, and love to heal your emotional and mental body. You can find the book at Amazon or visit Angela's website at angelablaha.com. The book is available in paperback and Kindle formats. Step back into your power. Get Angela's Show Me's at angelablaha.com.
If you are ready to take control of your health, your relationships, and your life, then tune in to Awakened Hearts with hosts Rebecca and Boyd Campbell. All of us are spiritual beings having a temporary physical experience. Awakened Hearts will help you deepen your connection with spirit. Each program will feature live intuitive readings and special guests. Listen live every Monday at 12 noon Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time on the Voice America 7th Wave Channel.
It's time to wake up and transform into your higher self. Tune into Lighten Radio with host Jay-Z Bound. This is a show that's meant for you if you're seeking your highest and fullest potential. It's already within you. All you need to do is discover it and nurture it to reality. Jay-Z is an intuitive and health and ascension facilitator. Get ready to connect to the divine and your authentic self. Be here for Lighten Radio every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America 7th Wave Channel.
The Voice America 7th Wave Channel.
You are listening to Conscious Conversations. To connect with Angela Blaha or her guest today, please call into the program at 1-866-472-5795. That's 1-866-472-5795. You may also send an email to angelablaha005@gmail.com. Now, back to Conscious Conversations.
Welcome back, and I'm here with Dr. Ufberg, and we are talking about, we're consciously raising the vibration of awesomeness within ourselves. And during the break, Dr. Ufberg and I talked a little bit about mindset. And Dr. Ufberg, can you explain that a little bit more?
Yes, sure. Thanks. I just think the truth is that we all have unlimited potential. But in order to begin to see that, we have to create a mindset that really enables manifesting to be possible. And so I love to picture 4 boxes. And in the top left box is the word potential. That's your potential, right? And in that potential, is, like I say, it's unlimited, but we'll need to take some action to have that potential be maximized. And so I draw an arrow from my funny accent, an arrow from that potential box in the top left corner to the top right box, which has an action in it. So we're going to draw an arrow from our potential to action. And anytime we take inspired action, what happens is that we see results. So we're going to draw an arrow from that box of action into this box of results that's sitting right underneath action. So that'll be in your bottom, if you're drawing, this will be in your bottom right corner. So we have potential up in the top left, we have action in the top right. Underneath action, we have results. Now, we have a certain amount of potential. We take some inspired action, big or small. We're going to get results once we take action. And you know what happens when we get results? We get more certainty. Because as you begin to see results, the certainty of your success becomes more apparent, which heightens your potential. So now in the underneath potential, we have a box called certainty. And now, so you see you have potential, you take inspired action, that action creates results, and the results create more certainty. And that certainty heightens your potential. So now you can draw an arrow from certainty to potential, and now you begin to see the upward spiral. You have a certain amount of potential. You take action. The action yields results. The result gives you more certainty of your potential, and so then with that more certainty, you feel that you have more potential, and you know what you do? You take more action because you feel more comfortable being able to take more action because you see more possibilities. And this very simple manifesting mindset, is really the way that you begin to change your whole attitude about what's possible for you. And I have this poster up in my room. I drew 4 boxes. I put these 4 words in, and I drew the arrows going around clockwise because I want to remember, I want to put in the center between those 4 boxes the manifesting mindset, because I want to hold that manifesting mindset as a very, very precious gift that I give myself every day.
So what types of things would you put in the center for your mindset?
Oh, I would put, well, the mindset is this circle. This is the mindset. This is the circle. But the kinds of specific things that I have within my toolbox of manifesting mindset rituals are things like a gratitude ritual, an intention ritual. So a gratitude ritual is, I actually have an app on my iPhone that's called, I think it's called 365 Gratitude or Gratitude 365. It's just a free app, and it's a calendar. And every day I get to choose a picture that I put on that day, and then I can write in the words of my gratitude. And every day I do a gratitude ritual where I, even if it's just taking a picture of one of my daughter's little dogs and saying, oh, I had a fabulous time with this puppy today, or I'm grateful for the sun rising, or I'm grateful for a beautiful radio interview I did this morning. Whatever it is, I have a picture, and then I have some words that express my gratitude for that day. And the beautiful thing about this app is that you can look back at the whole calendar and see every day, every piece of gratitude that you've done. So it's very culminating. So you can look by the end of the year, you have 12 months of beautiful pictures of and words of all your gratitude. So that's one ritual I do. Another is I have a lot of intention setting rituals that we teach. One of them is just having a journal by your bed and waking up in the morning and saying, setting an intention for that day. In the evening, taking the time to write something wonderful that's happened that day and then setting the intention for the next day. So it's really these kind of rituals that create a mindset that really begin to rewire and retrain your brain to think in this manner.
And there's simple, short things that you can do. You can expand them, I'm sure. But, people, I have the feeling that people think that a mindset change or, reprogramming ourselves for a different mindset takes years or months or, extended periods of time, when sometimes it's just these small things that you can do that sort of just remind you about the awareness or about your own vibration of where you're at, right? In your mind. What are you thinking about? What are you, how are you being in the world?
It's so true. I mean, I think so much of successful manifestation is just putting a stake in the ground and calling in and attracting what you most want. And part of that is setting up the stage for your success. I love Mike Dooley. He's a master manifestor, and he always talks about that you can have this wonderful analogy he uses of in a car. He said you can have a clear destination, and you get into a beautiful new car with a brand new GPS, and you can plug in your destination. And if you don't take your car out of park and put it into drive, you don't go anywhere. And so it's the same thing. When you're talking about manifesting, you have to get into gear. You need to do some things that actually move you from where you are now to where you want to go. And most of it is an inside job, Angela. Most of it starts really from the neck up. And so it's one of the things that I try most to teach people that, whatever limiting beliefs that you have that are conscious or subconscious, those you need to work on first. So beginning step one of clearing and releasing some of those are very, very important. And, one simple thing that we always start with is the notion of decluttering. My daughter Alexis, who is my business partner, and we talk all the time about how you would never decide to have a whole new set of dining room furniture and leave the old stuff in there when you bring in the new set. You would, get rid of the old table, you'd roll up the rug, you'd sweep out the corners, and you'd make room for the new to come in. Well, it's in the same way with a new mindset. You have to actually make some space. And it's not just mental space, it's physical space. So looking at what your desk looks like, looking in your closet at your clothing, looking at your drawers and saying, looking in your garage, what are you filling up all the space of your psychic energetic space with that you might need to let go of and move on so you can allow the space that you need to bring in the new. It's a very cathartic activity when you're starting this manifesting process to just do something as simple as opening up your clothing closet and seeing what you can let go of and get rid of. Where can you make space in your kitchen cabinets? Where do you want to, clean out? Where can you really look at your desk and say, geez, I need to create some space for something new, some new energy to move in here. I need to raise my frequency here. I need to raise my vibration, and I can't do it with all this old stuff, this old dead stuff here. And it's very freeing. I mean, I don't know about you, Ange, but I'm someone that I love to declutter. My kids would accuse me of throwing everything out that I don't have nailed down because I love that notion of having that space for new things to arrive, both physical things and energetically, vibrational things.
Right. I'm the same. Like if it's laying around for more than half of a day, it's gone because you should have put it away or it's not useful anymore. And, and I've always been accused of doing, throwing things away before that someone else needed. But the thing is about that is the freeing portion of it, right? When you clean something out, like there, you can visually see it, you can mentally see it, and sometimes you can even emotionally see it, how free you are. That's a huge component, I think, to anything that we do in our life. Mm-hmm.
It's so true. It's also, it's sending a message to yourself and to the world around you. And I do so believe that we're all like one big collective energy, that this is your time, that your goals and your dreams deserve your full attention. And so that requires paying close attention to everything that you're surrounded by. And that means like how you spend your time, what you focus on, who you spend time with, where, there's lots of hours in the day, so do you wake up every morning in a big rush, where you are just dashing out the door and have no time to actually focus on the glory of a new day and what the potential of that day could mean, or getting centered or focused in some way. I wrote an article for the Huffington Post, I think it was last year. It was one of the most popular things I ever wrote, and I felt like it was so simple, and it was called The Best Advice I Ever Got. And it was about not rushing your morning, about making sure you go to bed earlier enough, you plan ahead enough, or you wake up with enough time where you really have some time to start your day in a very thoughtful, relaxed way, and it changes the whole nature of your day. So if you are a morning meditator or a morning exerciser, or you need to make your special tea or tonic, or you want to have a smoothie, or you want to eat a beautiful breakfast, give yourself the time to do that. Do you like to spend a few moments outdoors, or do you want to spend a few moments just sitting and reading the newspaper? Whatever makes your heart sing, that sets the stage for a day that feels relaxed, and that you set that clear direction in a thoughtful way, and not that you've grabbed your phone, checked your email, saw all the 14 things that you still haven't done yet, quickly jump in the shower, grab an apple, and run out the door. It's a very different feel. And as soon as I learned that, and that now I get up earlier and earlier, because now, I want to keep adding more and more things to my morning rituals. But the fact is, once you get into a pattern, you never want to go back to that rush, because it has a very, very different feeling. And when you say, I'm really ready to have my best day ever, and you start with that intention, beautiful things happen.
Yeah, I totally agree about the morning time that we take. And what I find about myself is, I don't even need to be in bed that long, because I'm so excited about, getting up and starting the day. Right?
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah. I'm very committed to meditation, but I'm very rebellious about any particular meditation style. So I have kind of a rebellious personality in general. So I like to do lots of different things. So I've created a whole variety of different types of meditation that are all perfectly fine to do, and I do them in a very unpredictable rotating style. So I get very into chanting, and I'll do that for several days, and then all of a sudden I want to do EFT, emotional freedom technique tapping, and I'll do that for a while, and then I want to do breath work, or I want to create space for new ideas, or I do a walking meditation, or whatever, you can just keep listing them. They're limitless.
Right.
But what I do say is that my commitment to meditation is such that I do something every day. And that's the important part. So I have set aside sacred time for meditation, and whatever that brings me, and it can be a guided meditation that I listen to. It could be my own quiet space holding meditation. It can, it has any variety is okay. I've given myself permission to do whatever speaks to me of that day. And I think that if we listen to our own inner wisdom of what we need that day, then that's what we do. But it completely reestablishes and resets my whole body, mind, and spirit for what comes. And it allows us to really weather through what in all of us is, a very unpredictable, walk through life.
I agree. I teach meditation, and I tell every person that I teach meditation to, I say, find what works, and know that your meditation is going to change along the way, right? So having one style of meditation, for me, I'm very eclectic, and it just doesn't work for me to have just one style all the time. So it's very important. And I think that that's part of the, decluttering your mind thought about what's right and wrong for you, which there isn't any. That's just illusion. But it's also very freeing when you do give yourself permission to open up to different things. So we're going to, again, take a little short break, and we'll be right back.
visionary. This is the Voice America 7th Wave Channel.
In Angela's book, Show Me How to Remember Your Power Through Self-Love and Forgiveness, you'll find an empowering book filled with messages of love and forgiveness. She gives powerful ways to use your own courage, strength, and love to heal your emotional and mental body. You can find the book at Amazon or visit Angela's website at angelablaha.com. The book is available in paperback and Kindle formats. Step back into your power. Get Angela's Show Me's at angelablaha.com. Sit back, relax, breathe. Reconnect to the still small voice within. Take the time to make a weekly visit to the sounds of the heart with host Sandy Goldstone. This unique program will help you cultivate and strengthen your heart's connection and feel love, beauty, and joy. You don't need to fear or suffer. Heed the call. Say yes to living from the heart's truth. Tune in live every Tuesday at 5 p.m. U.S. Pacific Time on the Voice America 7th Wave Channel. Join the evolving consciousness of humanity.
This is the Voice America 7th Wave Channel.
You are listening to Conscious Conversations. To connect with Angela Blaha or her guest today, please call into the program at 1-866-472-5795. That's 1-866-472-5795. You may also send an email to angelablaha005@gmail.com. Now, back to Conscious Conversations.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm here with Dr. Sharon Ufberg, and Dr. Ufberg has an amazing free gift for each one of you. Dr. Ufberg, will you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. Thank you, Angela. So, I would love to share my 40-minute webinar with anyone. I know you give the information of how they can tap into that on your website. It really is a description, a very clear description. You get to hear my daughter, Alexis, who I told you is my business partner. You'll hear her voice on the webinar, and she's really going to, describe this groundbreaking 5-step formula for manifesting your dreams into reality fast. And it's something that we feel very strongly about helping to teach people, really how to get unstuck. If you're feeling kind of stressed out, whether it's about your job or about a relationship, we really help people avoid some of the big invisible mistakes that people make when they're trying to manifest love or financial freedom or health or success, and really, helping give you some simple techniques that, help to remove some of the fears and doubts and self-sabotage that people so often fall into. So, like I shared my story with you, Angela, it was a lot of work and a lot of trial and error to now be able to say, we've landed on a simple step-by-step process for helping people really attract the abundance they want and deserve, the love, the happiness, the financial freedom, and really begin to create some strategic steps to help move people through that. So I am also feeling very excited about the people that are listening today to your show, and so grateful for you having me on today, that when they listen to the webinar afterwards, if they would like to have some time one-on-one with me, I'd be happy to offer your listeners a free session where they could actually book a time and just discuss whether they need some particularly special help and training. So I'd be happy to offer that in addition to the webinar for you today.
Wow, that is so very kind and generous of you. So listeners, take advantage of what Dr. Ufberg is offering to you today. I have listened to the free webinar, and it's truly amazing. And you can find her link on Seventh Wave under Angela Blaha Conscious Conversations for the webinar too. So, or you can go directly to her webpage. I believe it's on there as well. So, Dr. Ufberg, what are the 5 groundbreaking steps for manifesting everything that you want?
So, yeah, I think it's good to reiterate those. I mean, when I told my story, I tried to share a little bit about each of those steps. But just briefly, you should be very clear. The first step is clearing and releasing. We talked about, doing some of that decluttering as you prepare to begin to clear and release. And so often people say, oh, I've tried this law of attraction stuff, or I've tried and it didn't work. And I think so often that when people don't start by getting rid of whatever blocks or energetic cords that they need to cut, it is very hard to move forward through the process. So it's about that decluttering and creating space. You need to manifest what you most want, and then really beginning a process where you clear out bad patterns and habits, negative beliefs, and other barriers that prevent you from getting what you want. And so that's really step 1, clearing and releasing. The second step is really visualizing your future. Again, I kind of talked a little bit about that too, about creating a clear vision of what you would love to achieve and deserve in your life, and really seeing yourself inside of it. So often people visualize something and they see it as far, far away. What you need is get into that vibrational frequency of your desires in a way that you're in it. And so often I think when you visualize, people get very stymied that they feel like they don't have enough specifics. Well, I don't know whether I want to move to British Columbia, or I whether want to live in Alberta or whatever. Like they get very caught up in the precise place, Right. I know I want to live near the ocean, but I don't know, do I want to live near the Indian Ocean? Do I want to live near the Atlantic Ocean? So I try to teach people that and make people understand what you need to get in touch with is the feel of the sand between your toes, the feel of the warmth of the sun on your face. What does it feel like to feel the cool breeze when you're walking along the water? Listen to the sound of the ocean as you go to sleep at night. That's what you want your future to be. That's what you visualize. It doesn't matter where the sand is, whether it's, a black sand somewhere or white sand on an island. You want to tap into that vibrational frequency and create that mental blueprint for yourself of where you will be. The details will follow. So that's step 2. It's a very important step. And then step 3 is about setting your intention. And again, I talked about, really expressing to the universe what you want and hope and dream for. And setting an effective intention is really something we feel is very important. And in the work and the training that we do, we actually bring in the very top intention setting expert in the world that comes and helps us teach our people how to set an effective intention. And, it's a scientifically proven steps of how to go about doing this. Much of what people think about manifestation is something very ethereal, and what we're finding is that much of it is not just an energetic, intangible thing, but something that's very, very much related to every cell of our body and the neurotransmitters and the links between in our brain. And I feel very comfortable as a doctor and as someone who has a BS in biology, being able to hold those two things side by side, the energetic, metaphysical place, as well as the very rooted scientific steps to making that kind of manifestation possible. Step 4 is rewiring your brain. We use a top person that we could find who's got his own New York Times selling books around brain retraining to really train our people to implement cutting-edge neuroscience tech breakthroughs to really begin to make your thoughts and your story your own, and get rid of whatever disempowering beliefs that you've been holding on to for so long. And then the 5th, and of course the most important step of all, is taking action. Like I said, one of the big indicators of not succeeding is never getting started. And so when people aren't moving forward, there's a lot of reasons behind it, but taking action and, creating a precise action plan is something that is incredibly an important step that we don't take for granted. So that's the 5-step process. We say it's simple. It's simple because it's very much laid out step by step. It is not easy, because if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it, right? So the fact is you still have to have a certain amount of dogged determination. I love the story from Twyla Tharp. She's a very famous choreographer, and she talks about how when she had not one person ever doing her dance routines, that she would still sit in an empty dance studio and create these dances. She would still choreograph every day. She'd get up in the morning, she'd put on her shoes, she'd go into the studio, and she would create these dances. Why? Because she said she wanted to prepare to be lucky. She wanted to create an opening so that when that person was available to her, when she had an opportunity to share her beloved dance routines with someone, that she would be ready to take full advantage of that opportunity. And now, her choreography is world famous. And so I think that creating those kinds of habits, very preparing to be lucky, I love that, is something that's extremely important.
Right, that's a beautiful way to put it, right? Is prepare to be lucky, because if we're not prepared for, what our hopes, dreams, and desires really are, well, there's no way that they can ever manifest. There's no way that they can ever show up.
So true. I always give people, when I talk to people, even when I'm just talking, when they tell me what their dreams are, I always give this simple exercise. I always say, okay, sit down with a piece of paper and a pen and write down all the reasons why you need this dream to come true. And they can be selfish reasons, and they can be altruistic reasons. I want to help others. I want to give money to my mother. I want to take care of my sister. I want to go on a trip around the world. I want to do the work that makes my heart sing. I want to stop working at my job. I want to make my children proud of me. You just name it. It can be anything. But when you start writing the list of reasons, I tell people, if you have a dream, you should be able to list at least 50 reasons why you need that dream to come true. Because the more reasons you have, Angela, the more likely it is that you will find the openings to make that dream a reality. And until you have, because with each reason, there's a motivation, right? There's something that's speaking to you inside that says, oh, I really would love to put my mother did so much for me. I would really love to put her in a home with a garden that she always loved. Or, my children really wanted to take that trip to, the mountains. I really want to be able to have the kind of financial abundance I'm looking for, because I want to really take my kids on that trip that we always talk about. Or, I want to help my friend, what do you know what I mean? Or I just want I want that beautiful convertible that I always felt I never was going to get. It can be selfish. It's okay.
Right. Right.
You get to choose. It doesn't have to be all, I want to help save the world. It can be either or and both. It doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. But to create an upward spiral, you really do have to start knowing the why.
Right.
And, I'll tell you something else, Angela, that I think a lot of people don't think about. And it's something that I'd like to share because I think it is important. And that when you want to get a lot, start giving. Start feeling generous. Start giving first. Start giving to things that you believe in. Start giving to someone that you believe needs help. And it doesn't have to be just monetary. It can be giving a little bit of your time, giving a little encouragement, showing some kindness to a stranger. Put out there in the universe some sense of your own values, that what you believe is important. Because when you start to give first, it has this effect of boomeranging back to you.
Right, exactly. Well, Dr. Ufberg, our time is up, and I want to say thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart for all the tips, all the techniques, all the tools that you've given us today. This has just been amazing.
Thank you so much, Angela. It's been my pleasure. I feel like we just got started.
I know. And time's we should have extended time a little.
Well, I look forward to being able to talk another time with you, Angela. Thank you for all your good work, too.
Oh, thank you. So next week, my guest will be Julie Day, and our topic of conversation will be how to achieve optimal flow in 3 easy steps. Until next week, have an amazing week. And please, again, let me know your responses to today's show. And thank you, Dr. Ufberg. It's greatly appreciated. And all my love to each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into this week's edition of Conscious Conversations. Be sure to join Angela Blaha for another edition next Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America 7th Wave channel. Until our next meeting, have an extraordinary week.